And I'm going to go ahead and identify myself. I'm Buddy Sebastian.
Being recorded.
I'm chairman of this committee. I'm president of Michigan Groundwater Association. If EGLE would go ahead and identify themselves first, please.
Yeah, Saturn and Jeans if they haven't. If anyone needs, it isn't muted, can you mute? We hear echo here. I'm not sure if you do online.
Yeah, when Buddy was talking, there was an echo.
I have a little bit of an echo.
Anybody's open. Yeah. Hey, buddy, mute yourself.
I think Scott, only person from EGLE, if it looks, and Melissa. We can start there and then.
You're kind of echoing, Dave. Did you want me to start, you said?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Scott Konzerski with EGLE, and I'm an EQA in the non-community program.
Melissa?
I'm Melissa Sallier. I'm the secretary for the source water unit.
So we could start on this side of the room. Dave DeYoung, well construction program.
Hey, Kelman's well construction program as well, EQA.
Tony Drops, Oakland County Health Division.
I'm Grady Skilaric. I'm interning with the Frederick Group.
Mike Frederick, the Frederick Group represents MGWA.
Sarah Pearson, source water unit supervisor. Anita Laddiser, well construction program.
Pam Mylan with Mylan Supply.
Sarah Simmons, Kent County Health Department, Environmental Health Division.
Do we want to go next with the health department folks that are online?
Yes.
Hi, it's Steve King, Central Michigan District Health Department.
Or Upper District Health Department number 2.
Contractors that are online want to go next?
John Schmidt, representing the South District.
Mike Wafield.
Jim Welser, east side of the state, southeast.
I think that's all we have. Is that true, Dave?
Yeah, except you, buddy.
Okay. Yep, I'm Buddy Sebastian, Michigan Groundwater Association again. Do we have any guests other than everybody's been introduced? Okay. Everybody got the agenda at a time. Is there any additions or omissions anybody's had happen in between getting the agenda and now that they want to add or omit? If not, we'll go on to the minutes, which we don't have to approve. This is not an official board, so I read over the minutes. Anybody have any comments on the minutes from the previous meeting? Oh, okay. All right, Sarah, I think we're to you for EGLE update.
Okay.
Sarah Pearson.
Thank you. And good afternoon. We don't have a lot new brewing out there, other than we are stepping up our efforts to communicate more with our communities. So our our health department partners and our well drilling contractors and pump installers. So we did host a webinar back at the end of July, just kind of given a tour of the website. We've made some modifications to the website, but just that's where a lot of really good resources are. We get a lot of questions from people. And a lot of the questions that they have could be answered on the website. So we wanted to help people be more familiar with what's on the website and where you can find information if you need to, or if you need an answer right away. We're always happy to answer questions, but if you want an answer right away, our website is a really good source. And we are going to be kicking off a newsletter to everyone of the electronic. And it will not be terribly long, but it will have some highlights that we want to share on a quarterly basis. So that those will be coming out to our group and our community so that you're aware of any updates, changes, things that we're seeing. We can provide some additional information on to make sure that we're sharing with everyone. So that's a big focus that we have right now. The other big effort, I think we'll talk about a little bit later, which is the well logic and the location corrections. And I just wanted to share, I've got some metrics on well construction, just kind of a highlight that to date, what I have and note that some of these items are reported on quarterly by our local health partners. But to date, so far, we have 9,722 well permits issued this year. And the well number of wells drilled, we have 8,673. Final inspections, 5,241. In well logic, 6,814 records of those wells drilled. So, we'd like to see those numbers come closer to each other with the number of wells drilled, with the number of records we have in well logic. Our staff here, but Janita will talk about a little bit more. I've got a couple of analysts who are entering the well logic data. We get in paper record. Within days of receiving the paper records, and the vast majority come in electronic, and we appreciate that greatly, and we want to see more electronic work done. And as far as abandoned wells plugged, we're seeing 4,077 so far this year. And the well abandonment records, we have 1,011. Last year, just to kind of give perspective, there were 16,136 permits applied for and 12,479 wells installed during 2022.
Sarah, what was the number of wells drilled?
Number of wells drilled, 8,673.
And permits was 9,000.
722.
Thank you.
Do you have something to add?
Hey, buddy, you're muted. There you go. Also, John,
I'm sorry, there you go. You mentioned there were 5,000 and something that were final.
5,241 final inspections that we have reported so far, but we don't have the fourth quarter of fiscal year 23 in. So there are those that have occurred in.
But I thought it was interesting that that's over 50%.
Yep.
The average has been over 50% for quite a while, buddy.
Has it?
Yeah.
Either I haven't received that number or been present when that number was given, but I thought that was interesting to me. Can you talk a little bit about, Sarah, the two things, the $5 million grant or budget item for the water well testing for contaminants that was put through, and also the Michigan water well construction news and notes, the did you know that went out? We shared that with our members. Can you talk a little bit about that, please? Both of those.
Right, so that's what I was referring to when I was talking about the newsletter earlier, was the news and notes. And that's the electronic newsletter, and I think our first edition will either come out in November or December. So those are just short, bits of information that we want to share with everyone, just to keep everybody in tune. So if there's topics that you're interested in, that you want us to put in there, we welcome any input. But that's just to be more of a communication to keep everybody up to speed. And, you know, if we see that there are some areas where people have a lot of questions and we know that we're not communicating all that well on that, this is a vehicle that we can do that with to keep everybody up to speed. And even things like we had last year when we had the change in the rules and where we were, you know, a status like that could be added to that newsletter. Those are the types of communications that we're talking about. We also want to celebrate the new contractors who passed their tests and welcome them as new registered contractors in the state. So, you know, we'll have a little highlight. So that kind of thing. The $5 million.
I noticed the dispute process was in there too, which was nice to have that link right there where, you know, a lot of people don't understand. I got quite a few calls on the gravel pit that was going in over by Ann Arbor and a couple other things. And I said, there's already a dispute process in place. And also I went into a little bit of legislation on, you know, mining operations have a little bit of an exemption. So I think this will help keep that stuff in front of all of us, where we're not making unnecessary phone calls. I like that. But my other question is regarding the water sampling. I actually had a customer call shortly after that was released, and she said she called to get the water sample kit. And one lady on the phone, whoever answered the phone, said they're not sure they might be running out of money already. So I don't know if they were misinformed or what, but I thought it was interesting. Can you?
No.
Yeah.
We released that, we announced it, and within 11 days, we had over 15,000 requests for kits statewide. The analyses are being run for total coliforms and for partial chemistry parameters, which includes your nitrates, nitrites, iron, calcium hardness. And then the third analysis that we're doing are metals. And that includes arsenic. It includes all of the household metals that our lab typically runs. And so it's a suite of metals. It includes lead, it includes manganese, copper, a wide variety of metals. And we have included that as part of the test kit. So we received an overwhelming response in 11 days. And we are just about out of funds. I have a little bit reserved for those with positive back teeth. So if they want to do a remedy, disinfect, and test again, we have some available there. I am currently writing another scope of work to ask the legislature for more money because there is an obvious need across the state for this information, and people need to be aware that they are their own water operator and they are responsible for the quality of their water. And I think that resonated with a few folks. So we were completely overwhelmed with when we announced this, and in fact, we even broke some of our systems. So, I'm also putting together another scope of work to include PFAS. I'm hoping that, the legislature will, see that there is a definite need for PFAS sampling. And so that's the second one that I will be sending up the chain. So at this
Thank
point.
you. Can I ask one more question? What consideration or statistics are you going to look into after this is all over? Because there's going to be a certain amount of, and let's just face it, I get it here, sampler error, taking the sample itself, taking it from the wrong faucet, taking it from a faucet you're never going to get a good sample from. Is there consideration in that before statistics are released?
I think, yeah, we will be doing some evaluation on that, as well as, you know, if we are seeing some issues in an area, we're gonna be looking into that as well, depending upon what we're finding. You know, we are not testing expired samples, and people are being directed in the instructions to write down on the chain of custody the date and time that they collected the sample. And so if a sample comes in and they don't have that on there, the resident is being informed that that is not going to be tested.
So, Sarah, and I kind of along the lines of what Buddy's thinking, because, so if you do see something that looks just kind of like an anomaly, it's going to be the party that is doing the resampling of that one.
Well, we would like to reach out to who in the local.
Your budget,
No.
factor that in.
I can factor that in. Yes, I will definitely factor that in, but I'd like to reach out to you in local health who knows that area and knows that this is an anomaly, or it's not an anomaly, or it's, oh, we need to talk to this resident.
Right, or we need more investigation.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Well, I appreciate that. I think it's important because I know that a lot of people want to take their sample at their kitchen sink, and I can understand why. However, you know, I know for a fact that a lot of these new faucets with the pull-out hoses and the sprayers and everything, even brand new, if you take them and soak them in a bucket of chlorine for 2 weeks, you'll never get a good sample out of those faucets, ever. It's just a fact. However, I think due diligence, you know, you're never going to get 100%. It's not going to happen. But I just want to make sure that as an organization and as a state, once those repetitive positives comes in, that we're taking a look at it and saying, okay, what's going on? Do we need to take a sample at the source? Let's get close to the source and then, you know, work up from there. So, and I'm sure that's going to happen. So I appreciate you entertaining my questions. Thank you.
Mike?
I had just one quick question regarding the free sampling. Are we excluding people that are involved with real estate transactions?
No, there was no exclusion there, but right now we're out of funding, so.
Right. I would just think that folks that are trying to get a free pass on their real estate transaction testing, they might be overloading our system a little bit also if they see a freebie.
Wow,
Just
that would have been pretty difficult to track and would have required more resources to track. There may have been a few. I don't know that it's statistically significant, but we're still getting the data on that water supply. And the other benefit from this that I have seen is that when I have informed residents that the funding is not available at this time as we have exhausted our supply, they have asked about paying for testing and they still want to get testing done. So I think that that's a real benefit, so that the folks who can pay for the testing, will pay for the testing. Once their level of awareness has been made and that they can do this and should be doing this.
Okay.
Dave?
This is a little bit separate issue. John, Schmidt, could you, if possible, mute, your phone? It's really causing a lot of feedback for everybody else, if that's possible for you. Thank you.
Let me switch phones here for a second, and if not, I'll just get off the call.
Oh, we don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want to cause people trouble. Just.
Oh, no. No, that's not it. If there's a mute button, that would be good. That's all.
Okay, is that everything Eagle has on an update?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're on unfinished business, Michigan Groundwater Association, Michigan Association of Local, MIHA, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, EGLE training outreach open to all. So I was on a very nice meeting with Tony and the organization, and I have reached out to a few well drillers. Mike, I haven't reached out to you yet because between you and I think we're going to have to do a cable tool demonstration in the near or far future. But as Dave mentioned, before we started recording, everybody's busy, and I got crickets back. I am willing to set up one in the Southwest. And by the way, Dave, anytime we want to set it up, let's just set it up. The contractor's ready. So.
You're talking about the type 2 in Coldwater?
Yep, we can do it anytime.
Okay.
So.
All right.
If you want to set it up 2 weeks from now, let's do it. So.
Okay. I'll talk to you after the call.
That's fine. Just give me a call.
Okay.
Yep. Give me a call. We'll just do it. But we would like to set up some drill rig demonstrations for sanitarians. Because as we know, it's not a real high turnover, but it's a slightly high entry level. I don't want to say entry level. It's a job where they really need to get hands on. You know, it really brings a lot of light to the position. So the more we can demonstrate and show and explain, and it's one thing to look at it in a book, but it's also another thing to see it really happen in real time. So I think it needs to happen, and I'm looking for suggestions on how to make this happen.
Well, this year, buddy, Kleiman was able to set up some demonstrations in the UP. We were also able to have a demonstration in Cadillac as well as Lansing. So I think we're a lot better this year than we have in the past. And if we can get at least down southern part of the state, I think for demonstration in a year is pretty record breaking actually, and shows the partnership between the drillers and governmental agencies here. So I think we just need to and I'll keep working to try and find spots and keep heckling people as well, and try and get some places. I know Mike Dyer had also told me he was going to try and set something up in the mid-Michigan area, so I'm still hoping that happens too.
And I can push Mike too. I'll put a bug in his ear. So I think it's important to do that. I think we need to actually partner more often on more things. Even at the meeting with Tony's group, they would like to see a well abandonment, from the attempt of pulling the pump if one's stuck in the hole, or even an old 2-pipe jet or a Packer jet to abandoning the well. And I think, why not? I'd love to have somebody see my headaches, you know, so, and understand them, so.
Well,
Base
anytime you get it, anytime there's an opportunity and you can give us a week's notice
Yep.
on going out there, we will get the word out to the health departments and EGLE people to, you know, and do all the setup for you. So all we need from you guys is time and location, and we'll do the rest.
Dave?
Also, I have a couple of double cased wells. One they're actually doing today. Another one's a type 2 we're gonna be doing that I think we should at least video it because it's a pretty neat process. Where we're gonna double case and cement in two steel. Well casing.
Yeah, that would be nice to get notice on that too, buddy, if you have another site, because I can ask Katrina, from our, communications, what do you call that?
Environmental assistance.
Health assistants, to, you know her, to video that, and we could put a short 45 minute, you know, video together explaining that, because we do get a lot of questions from sanitarians regarding the process of double casing, and so that would be a really good, like, short 30-minute, 20-minute video to put together, you know, and that's something like that should be easy. So
One customer got ants in their pants, so they're actually setting casing today, but the other one, we've got some time, so I think we
okay,
need.
perfect.
Okay. All right,
Perfect.
if nobody else has anything on this, Tony, do you have anything on this?
Well, I just wanted to ask, is this in addition to or conjunction with the flyer that you had sent out for the northern, for the health officers to meet? And I've gotten a lot of that spread through the state like wildfire.
I understand.
And Norm and Mouth called me.
I had a long conversation with Norm.
Okay, yeah, well, I told him to, you know, I think I explained to you more. So is this in addition to, in conjunction with this?
Well, we aren't doing well, though, I mean.
Yeah, that's a field component he's
Yeah.
talking about.
But that's something that in the future, we would be open to, but the challenge is, you know, I'm trying to do these party meetings when the well drillers are less busy.
Okay.
And the weather's not as good, and it's harder to drill wells when the, you know, the ground's frozen or whatever.
Right.
So, but if that's something that makes sense to do in conjunction, yeah.
Well, I think what Buddy's talking about is probably more of field staff, and you want to talk more to the directors in these meetings, correct?
Sanitarians, we want to invite sanitarians to these as well,
Okay,
you know. Because they've got field perspective that, you know, even the HO will understand.
okay. And you know, you're gonna get depends on how many, what region, you know, if you do the southeast. I don't know how you determine your region, what county and that, but, you know, I got 80 sanitarians, you know, so, you know, that could be 2 sessions for you, not just, you know, you got, I don't know how many counties here, but they don't all do well, but, you know, it's, you know, you get McComb, Wayne, Livingston, Boston or something together, that's gonna be significant. Especially if you invite all the field staff as well.
Yeah.
You know, maybe even the leader, I guess, chiefs and 11 supervisors on top of that, so. It's kind of a big thing, operation.
Dave, are you the contact if we find someone that would like to demo?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've, you know, when Valley Farms had their day and Dyer came, number of, you know, health departments that were, you know, within, you know, driving distance or local driving distance. And we had people come all the way from Green Beer and Cass
2-hour drive.
for the demonstration. So there's, yeah, you gotta definitely help us out with getting the Lansing location, and that was helpful. But yeah, we're definitely sites around and, you know, things that are available, or you hear things like, oh, and I'll definitely do setup for it. And
With Mr. Flint?
yes, that well.
I had great feedback. Farms location, like lower part of the state. Saying that was beneficial, and also walking around, looking at the vendors, parts and pieces, they also like that too a lot, so it was a nice invite.
As long as it's abandoned and such, you don't have to do a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, with, like the well at, Valley, it wasn't definition of a well. So didn't have to go through all the permitting and everything else, so.
But I just want to say, I think I got some really good feedback from people. I appreciate you making time to come to our, regular formal meeting and, the updates are, you're more than welcome. Just let me know a little bit in advance and I'll put you on the agenda. And, yeah, I think it's very well received.
Tony, I think it's important that both of our organizations stay in contact and actually partner together on issues. I mean, obviously, there's going to be, stuff out in the weeds that you guys need to talk about, outside of that, but and the same thing with our organization. But when it comes to wells and safe water, I think that we need to actually work close together because, your department and all the departments in the state, we all have the same goal. And we're all working together with all our members. So, I mean, it only goes to say that the more we talk, the more we communicate, the more we understand each other's, hills we have to climb. And the same thing I've always said, the minute I became president, hey, look, everybody's got a boss, everybody's got a job. You might not like the rules that we have to go by, but they have to enforce them and they have to go by them and we have to go by them too. At least we both have the same playbook. So if we could talk together and work together to get the same goal, why not? So with that said, move on to new business.
Mike always told me you didn't have a boss.
What's that, Tony?
Mike always told me that you didn't have a boss.
Wasn't me.
Is he married?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody has their hand up.
That's me, buddy. We had one more thing on the, training that we wanted to speak to, some local help.
Go ahead.
To make a quick note, prior to COVID, the well construction program normally did what we call roadshow training, went around the state and had multiple locations. Our focus was on, newer staff up to 5 years, but anyone's welcome. I just wanted to let everyone know that we're starting that back up this year. Beginning of November, we'll start and end in January. We're looking at, the UP will be held online. And those will also be recorded. So in future use, those will be put on our website for use. We'll plug there. We still have all our well construction videos, that we have recorded. They're online for any new staff, so they could be used at any time for any health department staff, but we will record the first, and then we're looking at locations in Gaylord, Lapeer, and then Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids. So I might talk to Sarah after this meeting about using her building, but, so we will start that again and focus towards new staff. We have multiple topics planned. But as always, I know Kathy, Anita, and I, and Dave, when we go out to the health departments, we talk with staff during the field training and inspections, and also directors or managers. We always ask for suggestions on topics. We're always looking for that. If anyone has any suggestions, now we're down the road. We have time to put together a presentation for the fall training series. You can get a hold of me and I'd be happy to talk about it, but I just wanted to announce that we're starting to be in person again. And we like that. We like that format because it shows our faces to the health department staff, and we see a lot of good communication after that too, where they're more comfortable talking to us after that. So that's why we always like being in person option as well.
Any other schedules that evening?
Taylor. So Jay Forty does live here.
Okay.
We're looking at Kalamazoo, we're gonna. Usually Ashland Township Hall, but we may ask Sarah for her though, if the date's available. But that would be January 10th for the Grand Rapids location.
How many people?
We're thinking this year it could be 30 to 40. I know we've used your room in the basement and that has fit quite a few people. I don't know. But 30-ish is usually an average for the Kalamazoo location. Would you say that, Dave there, Anita? That's usually a pretty good turnout.
On the 10th?
Yep, January 10th.
If you need any You've been to some of ours. If you have a subject that you want a speaker suggestion.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to help that. And if you need any funding on that, quiet funding, let us know, because that's important to us.
Great. Yeah, we had one year, we had somebody speak from a company that helped a lot too. That was nice.
Yeah, that was pressure tanks
Pressure
and
tanks.
sizing, things like that.
That helps.
We could find people for that.
Okay, yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And that's all I have to say on that.
Nice. Thank you. Are we on to new business? Use of type 1L cement in the field, issues, concerns. I think this is directed towards your contractors. I have probably used, without a doubt, 8 pallets, maybe 10, since its approval. I haven't seen any difference, to be honest. Has anybody else? Jim, you're over in an area where there's a lot of cement, and also you, Mike.
I don't, this is Jim Welser. I've used it a few times and I see no difference.
I've used quite a bit of it already too. I would say maybe 5 or 6 pallets, and we've had good success with it. I haven't seen any, any major differences between the old product, the way it performs. So I guess that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, for me, and I was the one that kind of put this on the agenda here with that variability in 5 to 15% limestone. And I've talked to Halliburton and some others, they've talked about when the limestone content gets on the higher end, has a tendency to what they call fluff. And it's, when you're trying to formulate a product to match a cement that doesn't have the same consistency in every batch, it can get pretty hard. So, I just wanted to hear what, if anyone was hearing of any horror stories or any troubles. I haven't heard anything in Michigan yet, and I haven't heard anything in the other Midwest states that they're having problems either, so.
No, I was actually at a National Groundwater Association board meeting yesterday. This came up, and the comments were basically the same. No noticeable difference in the product between.
Great. Thank you.
We may just look at it as a work in progress, and we'll see how it performs as we move forward. But at this point, I don't see any big issues with it.
Gotcha. Anybody else? All right. Well, logic analyst work. Anita.
Yeah, as Sarah mentioned earlier, we hired a couple of analysts, department analysts, to work in Well Logic specifically, and they do a couple different things. They enter the paper records that we still get from some well drillers that we're not happy about, but we do. They enter those records into Well Logic, and then they've also been doing a lot of location fixes. We have our information management division ran us a query on the Well Logic data to bring up, different wells that are not in the correct town range. section, or Cook County for that matter. And then our analysts have been going in and fixing those. So far, they've entered about 400 records. They've done 2,800 location fixes. And that is just a tiny amount of what needs to be done. We also have some, if they cannot locate a well for whatever reason, they kind of go into a dead end file. And eventually we'll be reaching out maybe to the health departments to see if they can determine the well location, say based on a permit number or something. But yeah, the records that don't have an accurate address, or a really good description of where the well is, we're really kind of stuck on those to try to locate them. So,
We also
go ahead.
reaching out to contractors if they're still in business, they can tell us the location.
Right, yeah, reaching out to local health departments or the drillers for sure to see if, yeah, like Sarah said, to see if they can locate the well. There's other little projects these people have been working on too. We've been comparing our community wells, what we have in that database to what's in Well Logic to try to make sure, you know, the lat logs are the same in both databases and little things like that. But so far it's worked out really well with these two. They're limited term. They got hired the end of May, beginning of June. They're limited term for 2 years, but I'm hoping after 2 years, we'll be able to keep them on, because there's a definite need to it. I mean, even newer wells going in today, we can pull them up and they're just, the locations are not anywhere near where they're supposed to be. So we're always gonna need somebody to go in and fix well locations, so. That's about it for me. You can,
Well, I can add that this is supplemental to the work that Michigan Geological Survey is doing. And they have a small army of students going in and going through county by county and correcting them. We're going back through doing QA and QC and making adjustments where needed.
It blows my mind in this day and age that people are still having trouble with their latitude and longitudes on those logs. I thought we crossed this bridge a long time ago.
yeah, you would think so, Mike.
People still ride horseback too, right? Instead of cars.
I agree.
I think it would help if all the drillers used Well Logic, because there's, you know, there's tools in there to make sure you get an accurate lat long, and the guys that still just fill out a piece of paper, sometimes it's difficult to read, and they're just not, in general, we see more inaccurate locations with those guys versus the ones that use Well Logic. Yep.
Additionally, a new version of Well Logic will be coming, I've mentioned before, our groundwater data management system. And that will be facing UI experience for Well Logic. So Well Logic will be replaced by that. We're calling it groundwater data management system. I don't have a flashy acronym for it yet. Yeah, but we'll come up with something better, because it's not entirely groundwater either, is the vision, because surface water and groundwater are right together, you know, they influence each other. So we will have surface water information in there as well, and the vision for the system is not only will it have your Well Logic information that you typically expect to see. So there won't be a change to the data elements. There will be a change on the user experience end, but it will also incorporate what has been long time needed, is the contaminant investigation information from Environmental Mapper, but even beyond Environmental Mapper, because Environmental Mapper doesn't have the data. it doesn't have the analytical data. It doesn't have the well locations for monitor well one, recovery well one, whatever it is. And the vision is that all of this data will be out of the silo and it will be accessible through this one system. It will be amazing. It will be easier to permit, and it will also be easier for us to identify residents who may be threatened because of a release somewhere. We also can use it, and we'll be using it to inform the WAT tool, so withdrawals will be part of that. So it's really gonna be an all-encompassing sort of system.
You could call it, was it Hal from Odyssey 2001 or whatever?
Go, Hal, yes, yes.
Well, Sarah, this is Buddy. I apologize for this comment, but I was told in a committee meeting on the Water Use Advisory Council that data is overrated. You know exactly where that's coming from, and I've been waiting to say that to somebody for a long time.
Yes.
That was a joke.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, you know where that's coming from. And
Yes.
no, and I agree with you. I think having it all encompassing, because I had a situation where we went as far as running a WAT tool on an irrigation well. Not too far from where you guys are sitting, to be honest with you. And it got denied by the local health department because there was a 201 site that I could not find on Environmental Mapper that wasn't easy for me to find because I'm not used to it. And so it was a lot of work on my end and the customer's end only to be a denied irrigation well permit. So I think an all-encompassing program is that will help. You know, is it going to fix everything? No, but it's going to help. It's going to bring us leaps and bounds forward. Anybody else have anything on the logic? I will say on a lat long, even I didn't think it was possible in some areas on some days, your accuracy level on your GPSs don't come to what you think they should. You know, 50, 70, 80 feet sometimes I notice on your digital. But go back the next day and they'll do it in 5 feet. So it's interesting. So, with that said, we can move on to, and I think I know where this is coming from. Peak demand pump capacity discussion open to all. Who wants to start this? Sarah Simmons?
I just wanted to see if I wanted to look at the chat or if somebody had put a comment in the chat, and I just want to make sure that was recording. So are we doing, okay, ready?
Yeah, I mean, Dana, Brian had asked this to be put on the, agenda, for discussion, and I put Sarah on the spot here to kind of give a little introduction before the meeting started, so I'm gonna kind of let her.
So what we restaurant that was trying to open, soft opening for the restaurant, they were had their, we don't remember if they had an existing well and replaced the pump or had a new well installed, but regardless, the question came up on whether or not the pump alone has to meet the peak demand of the demand for intended use, or if it could have a supplemental effect, essentially is what it was. And so we were going back, the driller we work with regularly is a great driller. And we were going to state on actually what was guidance, what was required, and then just kind of a better idea, because we don't have people on staff that can really work with variable speed drives. So that was the other question. So we threw it back to we didn't really throw it back to the state. We worked with the property owner and got them going on kind of a temporary basis until we can get a solid kind of understanding and everybody on the same page of where we need to be with this. So we reached out to the team at EGLE and got a response.
As far as, I guess this particular, example and I know myself, I'm seeing this and I'm getting requests from the health departments quite a bit and it seems to be more and more as time goes on. Our recommendation, basically has always been that, you know, especially with the type twos with peak demand, that peak demand, if you are gonna go with the VFD, you want, if you do have a pump that, if you have the rated pump capacity is greater, than that peak demand, you should be safe. Typically, that's kind of been the rule of thumb, and that's kind of what's been done in the past. But you know, as technology changes and things change, you know, we're starting to see a lot of systems where they're actually speccing out a pump that's below that peak demand number. And a lot of times when they do that, you know, the health department, first of all, they may not be necessarily comfortable reviewing the information, but they're not getting any numbers from the driller. So, you know, no pump curves, no total dynamic, no manufacturer's information, really very little information to evaluate whether or not we do what they need to do, along a field test. And you know, what we've been doing is when we get the information in from the health department, I've taken a look at pretty much all of them at this point. And to be honest with you, most of the proposals I get, I have to go back to the driller or look up information myself, and it's leading to some lag time on approvals. And also typically these pumps like this are typically, at least on our community water side, are evaluated by engineers. So what I asked Sarah and Dana as well was to see if we could get some support from our engineer staff as far as evaluating these type of systems. And maybe Sarah.
Right, I made the meeting a couple of weeks ago and they said, yes, they would provide support and be able to evaluate these. You know, as you said, the technology is advancing, so the understanding that this particular setup would meet the demand that's required, they definitely said they would look at and try to understand, because we know that the technology is coming out there. We heard about the presentations back in May at the field day, so yeah.
If you need an industry specialist for that, just let us know.
Okay.
Be very vanilla. But at least you kind of keep on track with what's going on, what's coming.
Great, that would be great.
And then Dave, you know, Dave Baddorf is not in sales.
Yeah.
And so he's got a very wide knowledge.
Anybody has something to add?
Yes, I have a statement and a suggestion. In my short years of doing this, I agree that the technology has come a long way. In that particular case that Sarah is talking about, the pump alone met the rated capacity or the peak capacity. However, as she stated and Dave stated, in some cases, the pump rated capacity of the pump doesn't meet it alone, but coupled up with a different motor, the VFD does, and Dan can concur with this. With that said, most type 2 A and B community, they flow requirement have not just a plain old permit written. I would maybe suggest to each health department that they just add a caveat. And it would be just a blanket statement on all their permits that if you are going to submit a pump with a rated capacity lower than the required 25 gallon a minute or 30 gallon a minute, as an example, then you must submit a pump curve beforehand supporting that pump can meet the capacity or peak demand, or will not be accepted and the facility will be denied to be open. I mean, it could be pretty much a blanket statement on every permit, allowing a driller to submit an alternate system as a VFD, but yet save a lot of legwork on the department side and the health department side and sanitarian side of, okay, we got to get this to EGLE, and then EGLE's got to get it to an engineer, and engineer's got to look it over. If the supporting curve for that pump is submitted to say, for instance, Sarah said, well, this has got to be a 35 gallon a minute system, and I submit a 25, whatever, 2-horse, but actually it's on a 3-horse motor, and it's going to give 37 gallons a minute at 60 pounds pressure at this TDH, and it all matches up with a well log, she can go ahead and approve it without getting a hold of you. It's a suggestion. You could put a statement in there basically covering yourself ahead of time on each permit on a type 2.
I just had one quick question. I take it we're not talking about low output areas where perhaps you might have multiple wells manifolded together, or you might have to stockpile water during off-peak hours or something like that with additional storage tanks. That's not part of this discussion then, or are those things we need to consider also?
That wasn't part of the situation, but it's a worthwhile conversation.
There's a couple other little pieces to the puzzle then. Typically, we have discussions with the health department to clear up those items on the front end if we can.
I agree with you, Mike. Those are all, you know, I'm getting ready to do one in Southwest Michigan that, you know, has a requirement of 25 gallon a minute, and I don't think I could drill 3 wells on the property and get 15. You know, it's an oh now what problem, you know. But this situation came up and it got quite contentious, and I don't think it was any one person's fault, if you want my opinion. It just happened. But in the department's defense, they were kind of blindsided by, oh, yeah, you're right, but we never considered it on that end, you know. And in the driller's defense, you know, it's like, well, yeah, we've been doing this for, you know, 15 years. It's no big deal. Well, you may have, but how many of that the department seen, you know? So it just was a situation that arose that, you know, festered that, hey, we probably should talk about this. I agree.
Yeah, and I think too, though, I want to kind of put it this way as well, is that I do think it does need a little bit deeper conversation, only because, I mean, we can kind of rely on the case by case situation, but I think that this is going to come up more and more and more. And so if there is at least a general framework for decision making, I think that would be really helpful. That way there'd be consistency on the health department side, there'd be consistent expectation on the well driller side.
I mean, I would more than welcome verbiage in a permit that would allow me to submit a VFD, as long as I had to do a little bit of more work up front. Said, okay, I could submit this pump, but I'm going to have to submit a whole bunch of supporting evidence to show that this pump does perform to what they're looking for. And I think it's only right that you ask for that. Just to help you. Dave, what do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing a lot of the drillers or, some of them do I guess from the packages that I've seen provided, some drillers do a pretty decent job and others don't, so.
Good, bad in every industry.
Yeah, so, if it was on the permit, that may help. It should with most drillers.
Is this an opportunity for perhaps a committee to convene and get together with parties involved to work through a solution?
I think that's good.
All right. We have an action item.
I like it. Action item. Who's going to be on the committee?
Volunteers?
Need some type 2 people.
Right, well, I see someone in the line. Okay, Anderson. Wonderful.
Volunteer, type 2.
Okay.
In EGLE type 2.
Scott, what do you think about participating?
I'll do it.
Sure,
I
I
can
can do that.
I do a lot of type 2. No problem.
I think we ought to invite one of our engineers, or maybe you can call Brandon and see who might be available.
Whoever said that they would help.
Well, they were kind of non-committal in offering up somebody, but they're districts.
Yeah.
But maybe there's somebody with more bandwidth, or even Mike Wolf's group, maybe.
What is the ask of the group?
Is this like are you putting together a collaborative process? Is that what's happening? How department permit this, determine it? Okay, so it's like a.
Like, could somebody send that on your general, and then I can.
Yes, for sharing with the.
Do you need somebody that oversees health departments as far as the language for permitting? I'm willing to jump on that if it needs to be. I'm clear of the ask too, so.
Scott's on there.
That's fine, okay.
Well, I have to go back around with Dan Detweiler, who's supervisor, type 2 group.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
But we have some initial volunteers, and we can shape up the ask. Share that.
I think on the contractor side, since how he's not here, we need to volunteer Chad Brewer.
Don't miss a meeting.
That's right. Yeah, the assignment.
Present to win.
Is there anyone on your end, Dan, that you think, or you want to wait and see?
Ask me for what you specifically need, then I can talk about the specific personality. We're more than happy to help.
Cuts in a ditch and it's hard to get pushed.
Good, I think we got a good start to it. Put the list together and maybe come up with a meeting time and email back and forth. Sarah, you want to take point on this?
Sure.
Which one?
Sarah?
I wasn't gonna. Talking to that one.
I like it.
Going first.
Okay, good. All right, we're on to contractor examination information. Dave.
Yeah, just gonna give a little bit of a update here. We haven't had an exam since, our last meeting, but, we have one tomorrow. We had 6 people submit, 2 of them have not provided the information necessary to take the exam, so we have 4 coming in tomorrow. Sorry, that's my work phone. So we're gonna have 4 tomorrow, one's a retake. And the next exam after tomorrow will be, April 12th of 24, and the deadline for submitting information for that exam is February 16. And as part of, I guess is the last time, we had our meeting, we had a discussion about unpaid, registration fees. We sent a letter out, with late fees to contractors that hadn't paid yet, on July 1st. And as of today, we have 57 well drillers and 6 pump installers that have not, paid their fees.
How long do they have to go, Dave, before it's just they're done?
3 years.
It's pretty lenient.
I know. Well, if they pay 1 year.
That's my
and then
husband's
pay the other
study.
year, yeah,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, $40 is a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. I don't think you can go to dinner for $40 anymore. If you want the truth.
No.
One person. Who's gonna take the contractor enforcement update? Is there one or not?
I can speak a little bit and Sarah can add in, as I guess she sees fit. The contested case hearing, I don't know if there's any updates on that. I haven't heard of any.
In the hands of.
Okay. We did have a contractor enter into a consent agreement in Southwest, Michigan since our last meeting. We had a Northern Lower Michigan contractor, set up for an informal conference, this month. So, we'll see, what comes out of that. And the other, I guess, news right now is we've been looking into a Northern Lower Michigan unregistered contractor, someone that's drilling wells that's unregistered, and we're having a little bit of difficulty tracking them down. But our plan is hopefully to send out a cease and desist once we can kind of pin down where he's drilling and where his rig is. Did you have anything else, Sarah, beyond that?
The other news that we have is that we are building an enforcement unit for the division. So that enforcement unit will include our 2 existing staff who've been working on enforcement. So that's Brad and Maureen Nelson, who works more on the community side. And they are adding 2 additional analysts at Brad Maureen's level, as well as a manager. The manager has been advertised, that position, and then the manager will be allowed to do the selections and the interviews for the additional 2 staff. So it will be an enforcement unit staffed with 5 people, so a manager and 4 analysts. So we're excited about finally getting some bandwidth there. Right, that's right.
Wow. Now, that's not just, I'm gonna ask this question, that's not just on the water well side, correct? Or is
Oh,
it?
no, we have pools and campgrounds and, community supply. Right, right, so. It's gonna be all drinking water.
Campgrounds alone will keep you busy, and I didn't
I
say
think
that, did I?
so, yes. Yes, well, Brad's been trying to split his time with septic and, pools and campgrounds and water well construction, and obviously that is insufficient.
Let them take vacations too.
Well, yes. His family has grown, so.
Wow. Okay, anybody else have anything on contractor enforcement? Okay. Other business and comments?
I had a couple things I wanted to throw in. I'm sure most of you or some of you have been aware about all the turmoil over in Ottawa County. It's been ongoing for a while. Long story short, they have a group that got elected over there that managed to wreak havoc with a lot of budgets. They fired the health department director. Thank goodness she fought for her job back. I could talk for about 2 or 3 hours on this topic, but Steve Hexel still sits on that water advisory committee over there, along with John Lush and some of those folks. They're talking about gutting out that committee. They wanted to take the entire health department budget back to 1995 levels as far as money. A lot of the sanitarians and health department folks are hunkering down, fearful of losing their jobs. I chimed in with the manager over there. It's Joe Moss and John Gibbs are the key players over there. And it kind of started with during the COVID, Joe Moss's child was attending a private school, and the health department shut it down for like they shut most schools down for a while. And he had a agenda bone to pick, and he's been making life tough for everybody over there. I had hoped to get Steve Hexel on the call today, but he was tied up with some other things. I don't think I got very far when I chimed in over there because I don't live in Ottawa County. I don't pay taxes or do business or run my business out of Ottawa County. I've been trying to get Eric Newbecker and Copes and Hexels and some of those guys to band together a little bit and try and bring some sense back to it. But it's going to be interesting. I guess now they've moved on from the health department and they're moving into elections, which is covered by the state. And I don't know how they intend to shave money out of that budget. But anyway, we see things on the news here about on a daily basis. So I don't know if anybody else has any information to add on the health department side of things, but it's going to impact everything from immunizations down to issuing well permits to what have you. So I wish I would have had Steve Hexel here today. He's got quite a good information regarding that.
Mike, if I could, I would like Mike Frederick to go ahead and give a little bit of a history and what we know and what we went as Michigan Groundwater Association did on behalf of the department. Go ahead, Mike.
Sure. MGWA did send a letter to the County Board of Commissioners and the chair proposing those cuts, explain what would happen from just the well side. The lack of sanitarians, you're going to lose seasoned staff and all the arguments there laid out. My understanding is the County Board of Commissioners had a meeting this week on the budget. I don't know what the outcome of that was. Okay, I know, Mike, the original cut was like an 88% cut that they proposed. I think Hattie had the PR side on, or the public on her side. And they came back with another proposal, and so we're just gonna go back to pre-COVID levels, which was like 2019 funding levels. I don't know how much of a reduction that would be. But our letter was, you know, any reduction would be detrimental to public health. So, and if I can make one question, and maybe Tony or Sarah have, I heard a similar situation was happening on Northwest.
Thank you.
The commissioners were going after their health director or whatever, same, similar,
Scott might know.
so, or Scott,
That's where he
okay,
was the EH director for Northwest District.
okay.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot of current information. I know that, they were trying to reduce the budget. Their health officer ended up getting pushed out. She left, but there was a lawsuit involved, and my replacement ended up becoming the health officer for Northwest and Benzie Leelanau, and they replaced the environmental health director position internally. But I know that there's a lot of challenges with the board at Northwest, but I don't have anything beyond that.
Thank you for the clarification.
Well, if I may say, with the extreme polarization in the political system, I think we're going to see this more and more, especially in the outlying areas, where you're going to see vast movements right and left, back and forth, as things happen. And I'm going to say this, as pragmatic people in the industry, as every one of us are in this room, and on this call, and on this meeting, we just have to keep our heads on and think, as we have been thinking, keep our customers and Michigan's public health, safe water in mind as we move forward. Try to help our partners do just what we did. You know, hey, look, if they cut the budget too much, people aren't going to be able to get well permits. They're going to be able to get things done correctly, timely manner, and that's just going to slow the whole process down. So it's sad to see, Mike. I'm sorry that your area is going through it. I'm sorry to see Northwest is going through it. I mean, I could not imagine, Tony, if your department went through a 50% cut in budget, you guys, that's insane. Your type 2 over there is nuts, in Oakland County. So anyways, I won't bandstand too much. Anybody else have any other business comments, old or new?
If I may, buddy, I touched base with Anita that we're gonna start actively putting together with your offices, the fundamentals course. So we would request the titles, the personnel, the schedule you'd like to see this year so that we can fill it in and not confuse you like we do year to year. Who's speaking at what time? But so I know that it's gonna be active and turning the wheels quickly. I think you have a October meeting, which you've invited me to, but we're very excited and we are going to change a couple of things around on our end. So for subjects, so that's the only thing I have here.
Do we have the dates for the conference in early March?
Email.
I'm going to take the Fifth Amendment on that. I have them. I don't have them in front of me.
Asked me yesterday, and I was like, and I went to our website, that wasn't on.
No.
I have to get back yet.
March 11th and 12th.
Yeah, thank you.
You're right.
Yes.
Marquette this year.
Travers.
I thought you were gonna say Anchorage or something, or Oregon.
Still winter.
Yes, it is.
11th and 12th, you guys said?
You have Monday and Tuesday.
Really?
Isn't it? I mean, those are the right dates, right?
Yeah.
That's where I put my calendar.
Mhm.
Okay,
11th and 12th or
Monday and Tuesday.
Hang on one.
Monday and Tuesday?
That's
I think the date went to Kathy, and I think she forwarded it to everyone.
Yeah.
That's the date.
be careful of that because bringing vendors in on Sunday night is a little difficult.
I don't know.
Yeah, different.
I think that was,
I don't, I'm just saying,
it doesn't.
There's still be a session for sanitarians.
Oh, actually.
That's the fundamentals. That's where we speak.
that is my vote, Tony.
Right.
I always push for that to move that forward, to bring in what we can. And
Absolutely.
Check that. And scholarships will be offered again.
that was Tony's question.
We,
We'll have to address the board again, Buddy, for the health department scholarships.
Yes.
I
Yes,
mean,
that's
it's a
correct.
huge challenge that I'm just kind of passionate about it, just our workforce, you know, recruitment, retainment and development is, you know, estimates are that public health workforce is probably going to get that half by 2030. And with DHHS having a division of environmental health, it's went from 20 to 400 in 5 years because of, you know, the fallout of Flint and that kind of thing. You know, I know MPHI's got, you know, it's taken a couple of my stands. There's a lot of people that we need staff. We've got people that are going to be retiring and things, and, you know, we need to, you know, have as much opportunities to have trainings and things that we can, because we need to just expand our workforce. I mean,
Yes.
it's crazy.
May I request, Sarah, that you share with, just in a letter, so that he can present it at the board, that that's a good program and look forward to it for the health, from the health department. You know what I'm saying? Very open, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, something that Buddy can present.
Absolutely.
Keep
I
it
can write on our letterhead too. I mean, if you want to get that out of the.
We only need one.
Oh, okay, well, you want to get Sarah?
No, Tony,
You
you want to do
more
it?
powerful than us.
Well,
You got all the money and power.
I don't know
Well,
about that.
that's really it.
DHHS.
But
One paragraph. You don't want to, you don't,
I didn't do that. Very
I'll give you something to share, Buddy.
Yes, I have my next board meeting, Michigan Groundwater Association, is November 5th. So if I could have something to share, then that would be great, November 5th. And then we're putting everything together. And I'm hoping to get Mike Wallfield there at that next board meeting.
I do see that Brian Thurston has joined us. Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Would you like to address the group? Have anything today?
I don't have anything specific today, but if anybody had any questions or something for me, I just was kind of dropping in and eavesdropping. I've been triple booked up to this point, so it's kind of late in the meeting to come back in there. But if anything came up that I might be able to help you with, I'd, can answer any questions.
Anybody?
Thanks for joining.
Yep.
They take the pyramid long.
Thank you. All right, we're on to our next meeting date, I think.
All right, any new agenda items on next meeting?
Oh, no agenda, right, agenda items. I think we should go do our unfinished business, Michigan Groundwater Association, local health department, maybe talk about if we have that field day, Dave, down in Southwest, maybe wrap up the year and Did you guys take any pictures of the one up north and maybe Cadillac at all?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got, yeah.
Maybe share
a lot
those
of-
at our next meeting?
Yeah, I sent a bunch to Travis, and then also I think it got on our social media site as well.
Good, maybe we'll just go over those at our next meeting. If we take some at the one we have in Coldwater, maybe kind of a wrap up as a hurrah, what we did this year. Then maybe also talk about our peak demand committee, pump capacity, maybe where we're at with that committee and what maybe we've came up with. Then, of course, our exam results, if we can. And our contractor enforcement. And any partnering news that maybe came up. And I know Dave and Tweak are probably going to punch me right in the nose when I bring this up, but I like to talk about buried pressure tanks and pressure switches
That's fine.
and water solutions. Because it's a festering boil.
Which one?
Are you talking about the
Yes,
pressure tank switch, where it's located and
yeah.
rating, like the situation we had with Berrien County and so forth? Is that what
It's
you're
still-
relating it?
That's still an issue over there.
Yeah, okay.
I'm still getting phone calls, but I think maybe, without opening the rules, which we know that's not gonna happen, but I think just maybe having some discussion on, I mean, we've seen some pictures, like, Chad Brewer brought up some stuff, maybe bring those back up, how he was doing it. We still have those.
Yeah, we do. We've kind of
revisit that?
done. Yeah, we can do that.
Revisit that and, maybe talk about it. Anybody else have anything? If anything else comes up, obviously. Jim Welser, you got something?
Yeah, I think Chad Brewer's got a pretty nice system for that underground switch of his. Maybe we need to get that up again. I think the health department put something out on that system.
Okay. Other than that, I think we're okay at this point. Meeting date. Anything else, Jim? You got your hand still up?
No, I got it down.
Okay, all right.
3 months takes us to about Christmas.
Yeah, I see that.
January.
Well, the problem with the week of the 18th, if that's right before Christmas.
We're not gonna be able to do that week, buddy. We have,
How about like the week of the 11th, like the 14th? Or we go after the first of the year, one of the two.
when's our LPI? I thought that was,
That was the 18th.
okay.
So December, I have Lapeer 12/13 for the, well construction roadshow training. That date's taken for us. 12/13, we're not available that day for training.
I'm both suggesting the 14th is the 14th.
14th works.
Where's that roadshow?
On the 13th will be, Lapeer at the health department. That's usually a really good turnout. I'll have, as far as the roadshow training, there'll be a save the date coming out, fairly soon here, so. With those dates on it, we'll send out to everyone to hold those dates, locations. I just won't have the detailed agenda yet.
You doing the 14th then, buddy?
Yeah, I think the 14th is good if it's good with everybody else.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, 1 to 4. By then, I'll have a good report on the fundamentals and the educational conference by then too. So. All right, with that said, anybody have anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So I'd just like to say thank you all for participating on this. It's been, this is a very good group to have there. And so thank you for all your expertise in participating to make this successful.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Brian.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.